Amidst the Euro finals and the Copa finals, MLS just keeps rolling on, and we're down into MLS Week 26 now this weekend with a huge 14-game card coming on Saturday, July 13th. Now, last weekend in the bets was a pretty good weekend, going 2-0 on Saturday. Lost the bet on Sunday because the Quakes decided to finally keep their first clean sheet of the season. And then we saw the Houston LAFC game get canceled due to bad weather, but still hit the other two legs, so we got a void and two legs coming through for a small profit on Sunday as well. Now, there were cup competitions this week with TFC losing 2-1 to Forge in leg 1 of the semifinals of the Canadian Championship, with Vancouver going on to win 1-0 away to Pacific on the Canadian side of things. Now, on the American side, US Open Cup was also in play in the quarterfinals. Atlanta lost 2-1 to the Indy 11. Seattle beat Sacramento Republic 2-1. SKC beat FC Dallas in an all-MLS matchup 2-1. And LAFC beat New Mexico United 3-1. So just the point of that is just to say there are a few teams that played midweek, so could possibly be rotating some players this weekend. So it's always worth to take some lineup checks before making your bets. And if you look at the lineups from all of those cup competitions this week, it would seem like most teams all fielded pretty strong lineups as well. So like I said, there could be a few tired legs this weekend. Just give those lineups a check. Now let's get this weekend's MLS picks and parlays going. And before you bet, if you want to take advantage of some great new customer promotions, risk-free bets, deposit match bonuses of up to $1,000 or even $1,500 at some books, click on my link, signupexpert.com/shredthespread. That link right down there, or in the comments. I'll drop it down there in the comments of this video to see a list of every available offer in your area from all the top sports books. Now, for me, I love betting MLS because there's just lots of goals, and scoring seems to be picking up of late with 49 goals in the 13 games last weekend. That's good for 3.77 goals per game. There were also 47 goals in 13 games in last week's midweek slate as well. That's 3.62 goals per game. All right, let's go. If you like this MLS content, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to help in spreading the word. Parlay number one, let's start with Toronto FC and the Philadelphia Union. Who do I trust more or less in this game? 9th Toronto, 14th Philadelphia. On one side, we have TFC, who just lost 4-0 to Columbus last week. They're winless in 9 MLS games, and after losing in the Canadian Championship this week, it's no wins in 10 in all competitions. They've also given up multiple goals in 8 straight games, which is pretty ugly reading if you are a TFC fan. But on the other side, we have the Union, who drew 0-0 last week with the Red Bulls, and they're winless in 9 games themselves with just 1 win in 16, and that 1 win came against the New England Revolution. Prior to last week's 0-0, they had allowed goal totals of 4-4, 2-4, 2, and 2 goals against. And in fact, each of their last 3 road games, which is where they'll be here, they've given up 4 goals. That's also pretty bad reading if you're a Union fan. These teams played out a rare, though, 0-0 draw between them back in May. But if we look back to other scores between these teams, we'll see 3-1, 4-2, 4-0, 2-1, 2-2, 3-0, 5-0, 2-1, 2-1, and 3-1. And it goes on and on with more goals between them in other historical meetings. This looks like it's a both teams to score bet or a both teams to score an over 2.5 bet if you want better value as far as I'm concerned. I mean, neither of these teams seem to be trustworthy of keeping clean sheets, and they both find creative ways to lose each week. So let's go both teams to score to kick off this parlay. Next up, St. Louis City and the Vancouver Whitecaps. Roman Berkey got injured last week for St. Louis City. Could be a question mark to play here. That's something worth checking up on. It's not good for the West's 12th ranked team, who have 1 win in 11 games and just 2 clean sheets in 12, that being St. Louis City. Were missing 8 other starters last week to injuries or international call-ups as well. Surely they won't all be back this week, so they could again be shorthanded. The Caps have been up and down all season long, but right now they're hot, and they're sitting 6th in the West, and they're undefeated in 4 games overall. In all competitions, they're 5-1, 2, 8, and they've scored a goal in 8 of their last 9. The goals have been the story between these two in their short history, with St. Louis winning 3-1 and Vancouver 3-0 last year. Both of those teams winning at home. On June 24th this season, just recently, it was a wild 4-3 win for the Caps in Vancouver. St. Louis went up 2-0 within 12 minutes, but Vancouver responded with 4 straight goals, 3 of which came from Brian White to give them a 4-2 lead before a late St. Louis goal in the 93rd minute cut that lead to 4-3. White now has 5 goals in his last 3 MLS games, is one of the hottest players in MLS right now. This may not be another 4-3 game, but St. Louis has still allowed 4 goals in 2 of 3 recent games. However, both of those did come on the road. They'll be back home in St. Louis. Should be a little bit tighter game here, but since they only have 1 win in 6 home games, this could be a both teams to score. Over this parlay, just Vancouver to score at least 1 goal. Next up, New England and Orlando. I don't trust Orlando, but I'm going to trust them simply to get on the score sheet here. They've won 3 of 4, and they've scored goal totals of 5, 2, 2, 4, 2, and 1 goals in their last 6 games. New England's uptick in form might be short-lived here. They had wins of 2-1, 1-0, 3-2, and 2-1. They've now lost 5-1, won 2-1, and lost 2-0 in their past 3. They'll look to likely be without Carlsgill again, and they conceded in 5 straight and 9 of 10. Win or lose, I'm going to pick Orlando just to get 1 goal in this parlay. So if we go Orlando to score, Vancouver to score, Toronto and Philly, both teams to score, we can come in at a decent plus 150 in those odds. Parlay number 2, 2 games. Let's go out west. FC Dallas and the LA Galaxy. Dallas is all over the place in form this season, so it's hard to know what to expect. If you go back over the past couple months, they were undefeated in 5, winless in 4, undefeated in 3, and now they have just 1 win in 4 games. Their last 4 games have been a 3-2 loss, 3-2 win, 1-0 loss, and 3-2 loss. Dallas have only 1 clean sheet in 13 games, but they have scored in 6 of 7 and also in 15 of 17. The Galaxy still only have 4 defeats all season and only 2 in their past 13, where they're 7-0-2 in their past 9. The Galaxy have been one of the most exciting teams all season long. They've scored multiple goals now in 8 of their last 12 games as well. They've also allowed, though, goals in back-to-back games after 3 straight clean sheets, and they've also allowed a goal in 6 of their past 9. Recent score lines between Dallas and the Galaxy, it was 3-1 LA this season and 4-1 and 3-1 Dallas last year. Dallas actually has a pretty good record against the Galaxy, very good at 5-1-1 versus the Galaxy in the last 7 meetings. I'm not against the both teams to score bet here, or maybe a Galaxy win after Dallas just played midweek, or simply just asking the Galaxy to score in this parlay, something they've done in 9 straight games. The Galaxy had been keeping a few clean sheets here, and Dallas has been tired, so let's just play it safe and go Galaxy to score, because most of the value in this parlay will come in the next game between 2 of the hottest teams in MLS right now. It's Portland and Real Salt Lake. Now, I talked about who do I trust less between TFC and Philly earlier. This is definitely the opposite. Who do I trust more here? On one hand, we have RSL, who's 4th in the Supporters' Shield race. They're 2nd in the West with 43 points. In MLS play, RSL has just 1 loss in 18 games and just 2 in 21. RSL has scored a whopping 12 goals across their past 4 games. Portland is rising up the table themselves, 5th in the West with 33 points. The Timbers thrashed Nashville last week, winning 4-1. That makes them 7-2-2 in their past 11. It's also seen them score multiple goals in 5 straight games and also in 9 of their past 11. In 3 meetings last year, RSL won 4-3 in the U.S. Open Cup. The teams drew 0-0 in Utah, and the Timbers won 2-1 in Portland in MLS play. Now, how can there just not be goals in this game? If we look at all the talents on the field here between Rodriguez, Mora, and Evander, they've combined for 31 goals alone for Portland, just those 3 players. All 3 have double-digit goal totals right now. Meanwhile, Arango and Gomez have 28 between just the 2 of them for RSL. Anderson Julio has 6, Diego Luna has 5, and Luna has 1 goal and 3 assists last week alone against Atlanta. There's all kinds of players in great form here when it comes to scoring. Now, the only downside for Portland is that only San Jose and SKC have allowed more goals in the West than the Timbers. So there has to be goals in this game. You could go both teams to score. That's only minus 210. Both teams scoring over 2.5 is minus 150. We could do, so if you want to go by itself, both teams score over 2.5, minus 150. Or in this parlay, I'm going to go Galaxy to score. If you did just both teams to score between Portland and RSL, you could go minus 130. If you want a little bit better, both teams to score over 2.5 and the Galaxy goal minus 105 in the parlay. That's what I'll do there. Number 3, and the third parlay here, 2 games, 2 late games. This 2-game parlay will feature 2 games where I'm going to go both teams to score again, but for different reasons. We have 2 great teams playing in one game. The other one has 2 very poor teams. We'll start with the 2 great teams, and it's LAFC and Columbus. It's an MLS Cup rematch that saw the Crew win 2-1 back in December when they last met. Since that game, both teams have remained in great form and are near the top of their respective conferences again here. Columbus is 3rd in the East with just 3 losses in 20 games. They've won 4 straight. They've outscored opponents 15-1 in that time. In all competitions, they have just 3 losses in their last 20, and those have come against Miami, Pachuca, Cincinnati. No shame there. The Champions Cup loss to Pachuca is the only time they've not scored in their last 12 games. Now let's flip over to LAFC. They're 1st in the West with just 4 losses in 21 games. They've won 4 straight. They've outscored opponents 14-4. They're undefeated in 13, 12 of those being wins, and they have just 1 loss in their last 18. They've scored in 20 straight games themselves. The only thing that would make me think maybe we don't see goals is that that this game might be tight is that the Crew have clean sheets in 3 of their last 4. LAFC have clean sheets in 7 of their last 12. However, they have just 1 in their past 6. Only LAFC and the Red Bulls have still yet to lose at home this season, so it's hard to bet against LAFC at home here, but it's also hard to bet against the Crew either. Let's just bet on goals, at least 1 from both sides. This could possibly end in a draw. So let's go both teams to score, and we will also go both teams to score. Between the other side of this coin, it's two bad teams. San Jose and Sporting Kansas City, 14th, hosting 13th. But oddly and rarely, both of these teams are coming off of wins last weekend. SKC, 3-2 over Dallas. San Jose, 1-0 over Chicago. For San Jose, their win snapped a run of 10 games and winless in all competitions. It was also their first clean sheet in MLS all season. So that means they have just one clean sheet, just one time all season in 22 games. They've kept their opponents out of the back of their net. Scoring a goal, though, means they've scored in 17 of 22, but they have just scored one goal in their past 3 games. SKC have scored in 20 of 23. They've conceded in 21 of 23. Both teams to score bets for SKC have gone 19-4 in MLS alone. It happened last week in a 3-2 win over Dallas, and it even happened in the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday. There could be some concern with fatigue for SKC because of that Cup game. They still need to go for it, and they can't afford to rotate too many players here as they're just so far behind in the standings right now. But not just that, not just both teams to score bets, but both teams to score and over 2.5 bets have gone 10-2 and 17-3 in recent SKC games. SKC has given up multiple goals in 10 of their last 12 and in 14 of 17 recent MLS games. This season they played in KC earlier in March. SKC won 2-1. Last season, home teams won 3-0 each in MLS. They also met in the wild card playoff play-in game in KC, and they drew 0-0 before. The home team again, SKC, went on to win in PKs. The home team has won 5 straight and is undefeated in 7 meetings here. So that could be good news for San Jose, but it's really hard to trust either of these teams to keep the ball out of the back of their net. So let's just pair up both teams to score here with both teams to score with LAFC and Columbus, and we can get that parlay at plus 133 odds. That will wrap up my picks for this weekend's MLS Week 26 action. Be sure to share whatever you're betting for MLS this weekend. Straight bets, parlays, player props, anything you're betting down there in the comments. Give this video a like, subscribe to the channel to get more, and good luck this weekend.